It was always raining in the land of Gud. It never stopped, and umbrellas were essential. One boy who didn't have an umbrella was Splidge. He was dripping wet and soaked to the skin, and surprised the city hadn't flooded long ago. Seeking shelter, the boy ducked under the arch of the venerable market hall. The ancient timber-framed building sat on tall stone pillars in the city centre and made a perfect respite from the constant drizzle. As puddles formed around his shoes, Splidge shook the water from his bedraggled jacket and dried his sandy-coloured hair with a handkerchief. "Blimey," he said, when he saw how wet it was. "That's nothing," croaked a voice, and Splidge spun round to see a filthy man dressed in rags emerging from the dark recesses of the undercroft. The beggar, who dragged his withered leg behind him, gawped at the boy for a moment. "You wait till you're really wet," he grumbled, and then he hobbled out into the curtain of rain and limped away. Splidge watched the water cascading down the slate rooftops of the buildings opposite and flood into wrought-iron gutters before it spewed out of hideous gargoyle spouts. These powerful jets of rainwater, he noticed, were a menace to pedestrians on the cobbled streets below. As if on cue, an elderly gentleman emerged from a tobacconist's shop underneath one such jet and got drenched in an instant. He cursed loudly at his misfortune and shook his fist when he spied Splidge giggling at him. "Boy, why didn't you warn me?" The man crossed the road and bashed Splidge on the head with his folded umbrella, then stalked off, muttering to himself. As Splidge rubbed his sore head, he saw a girl rushing towards him. She had raven-coloured hair and wore a figure-hugging black leather outfit. She looked a little older than Splidge by a couple of years, and he wondered if all the girls in Gud City were like this stunning beauty. When she sheltered under the archway next to him, his heart missed a beat. "Morning," Splidge said, staring at the tall, slender teenager, admiring her striking brown eyes and purple lips. She didn't reply. Instead, she gave him a dismissive nod. "It's a bit wet today," Splidge continued, stating the obvious, but the girl had no interest in conversation. She scowled at her umbrella. Something was preventing the canopy from unfolding. "Need some help?" Splidge asked. "No thanks," she said, through gritted teeth, pushing hard against the umbrella's toggle. "I see you have a Hanway Supreme. They're supposed to be the best, but they can be problematic if the collar gets caught." The raven-haired girl gave the boy a snooty look. "Talk a lot, don't you?" she said, before moving away to another arch. Splidge followed, amused by her annoyance. "I think the outer spring is twisted. It happens sometimes. It's the sign of bad craftsmanship. I can fix it if you like." "Oh?" The girl looked the boy up and down. He was younger than the usual rabble that tried to impress her. Splidge smiled. "It's all right. My dad used to be a brolly man, so I know what to do." The young woman thought the boy looked trustworthy, so she handed him the broken rain protector, and Splidge got to work. His stubby, nimble fingers quickly located the defective spring under the folds of material. With a flourish, he pushed the central toggle up, and, as if by magic, the brolly opened with its familiar whoosh. Splidge winked. "Easy," he said, and he returned the prize. The leather-clad girl took the umbrella and flashed the boy the barest hint of a smile. "Thanks," she said, and then without waiting for a response, she stepped back out into the monsoon and hurried down the street. "You're welcome," the boy grinned, catching a whiff of her exotic perfume. But alas, the sensory pleasure lingered all too briefly. Wow, she was lovely, Splidge thought, wishing she hadn't rushed off. A commotion made him look back to the cascade of water tumbling from the ugly monsters on the roof opposite, and he spotted a short, plump woman squealing with displeasure as she too received a drenching. Splidge stifled a laugh when the hapless crone scowled back at him. "You should have warned me, you stupid imp!" She spat in his direction and, swearing under her breath, stomped off. Splidge had to laugh. What a tantalising and comic introduction to the city. He'd only been there 5 minutes and witnessed 2 old people taking unintended showers. And, incredibly, he'd fallen for a leather-clad girl with raven-coloured hair, who he desperately wanted to meet again. Unfortunately, he couldn't hang about. His mother had sent him to look at the job advertisements, which were pinned to the notice board in the market square. With reluctance, the young lad stepped back into the drizzle and set off to find them.